Welcome to Elliott with some cryptos. Today I'm gonna have to do a very quick video and I'm gonna focus on BTC and Ethereum. I'm not gonna go into much details because it really has to be quick. And for any sort of details, of course, you can always visit the previous videos to see more in-depth analysis. So without further ado, let's have a look. BTC and Ethereum, Elliott wave count, and none of this, of course, constitutes investment advice. So this is the main count, guys. As you can see, we have either an ABC over here, which means we are to see 5 waves to the upside, with that being wave 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5. Typically, when the first is extended, 3 and 4 and 5 are having more of a sort of amplitude and magnitude of an ending diagonal rather than anything else, but it's still an impulse. This is one of the ideas. Of course, the other is that the wave A is going to be probably around here, and then we're going to get a deeper correction in wave B, which we're going to see. If you want to see the longer term count, have a visit at the last video. Now, if this is indeed the A and the B, the potential for this to get up to around 32.75, 32.80, even 33k, it's quite large, okay? And it would also be the previous bottom over here. It's a previous top over here. So this zone is fairly magnetic, if you may, and I believe we're going to go there one way or the other, even after a short correction, or even straight up and then finally start moving lower down. The thing is that the 100% Fibonacci over here, if this is indeed the case, you know, it won't really mean much unless if we actually see an ending diagonal over here play out, because typically we have between A and wave, the 100 extension is the one that matters most. But in this case, as I was just saying, let's not forget that you know, if we get the 100%, it will just have one wave in, and the third, the fourth, and the fifth wouldn't make sense. So it will have to turn into a diagonal. Now, let me just go a little bit closer in. I want to show you the other variations. I'm not even going to bother today. You can visit the previous videos, guys. Honestly, all is just a repetition of previous counts. So you got the A and the B, and this is actually wave 1, which I don't like as a wave 1. I see a lot of analysts calling this a triangle, and I cannot really argue that it doesn't look like a triangle. But when you compare this triangle with wave 2, it's nearly impossible for that to be an actual triangle of the same degree. Okay, if this is wave 2, we cannot really have that being an actual triangle. So instead, that's why I have actually called it 1 and 2, looking at a W, X, and Y with a triangle in wave Y. And from there off, we go up, starting again another wave 1 and another wave 2, supposedly not finished yet. We still remain impulsive to the downside. Maybe we're going to get a triangle over here and then one more leg to the downside. That is going to be the end of wave 2. Now pay attention to this, guys, and why this is bullish. This is bullish because the correction we saw down here, even in W, is 23%. If you take this one, which is where wave Y ends, it's around 10%. So this is a very shallow pullback, which suggests further continuation, of course, if it turns, unless it turns into a diagonal. And if it turns into diagonal, it could be either leading diagonal or ending diagonal, with ending diagonal being quite bearish instead. Okay, now here's what we need to remember. If, or as long as we remain above this trend line, the trend is to the upside. Losing that trend line, things are going to change a little bit. Now, I'm expecting a flat here. Okay, so we'll see how this is going to pan out. Of course, there is many different variations, and I'm not going to go through this. The other idea I was telling you about is potentially this still being in wave A. Okay, and this was, I think, my main last time. I'm between these two guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, and also 5, which means this is 1 and 2. This is 3, and a smaller triangle in 4 because it fits the wave 2 better. And you've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 over here, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we'll just finish the 5th wave up. Okay, or maybe we're going to finish that 5th wave up soon and then start falling. the assumption, of course, in this particular case is that wave 4 is done here, and we'll have this weird looking 5 wave move to the upside, which I don't really like much. So maybe that's going to be a 4. Maybe we're going to get one more wave to the upside for this particular candle to play out, but I am pretty sure you understand why we have a smaller triangle here, because we are looking at this degree and comparing the 4 and the 2. The other thing as I was also looking, if you see the A, B, C, D, E in here, this is an actual triangle, guys. So you got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 potentially. That might be wave A, and our wave B might be an open triangle. I would expect this to be in wave B because it does a deep correction, is an open triangle. And then that would also suggest that maybe this is 1 and 2, we're going to get 3, 4, and 5. And that's going to be the end of it. And that's going to be the ABC. So what I'm saying pretty much is we have A, open triangle in B, and we'll go up in C. Okay? Now, whatever the case is, because obviously it's not, okay, you know, I'm not going to go into the variations. You can visit the previous video. Anyway, this is going to play out. Here's what is important to remember. In one case, if this is A and this is B, when really chances are going to get very, very, very bullish, it's going to be above 43K. Now, I'm not saying we're going there, but everything points to more upside right now. Okay, everything. And the 50 is at 32.74, okay, and the 61.8 is at 39.21. So both of these levels are very important to keep an eye on, okay. And if this is indeed an ABC, then 50 is the typical level that we usually see. Now, when we go to Ethereum, if we look at the main, you know, last time I looked at Ethereum, I don't remember what it was. It had a similar count to BTC up until we see a more clear move to the upside now. And of course, that cannot be considered. I mean, it can still be a wave 4, obviously 1, 2, 3, and 4, but we're playing with probabilities here, and probabilities now suggest that this is an ABC down here. So I'm going for the W, X, and Y variation. Okay, that also suggests either we have wave 1, A, and B here, and we're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 like BTC, or the alternative 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 and 5 up here. Then we're going to get deep correction and C. Now, when we have W, X, and Y's, wave X typically is deeper than an ABC. ABC is between 38 and 62, well, or 79 you can say as well, but typically it's the 50 that we get. Whereas in W, X, and Y's, we get anything like typically is the 61.8, but up to 79 in cryptos and commodities because, well, you got the volatility factor to weigh in. Now, if this is A and B indeed, okay, and we've just crossed above that level, kind of invalidating the potential for a triangle, you know, we are looking at 1 and 2, and we are looking at a multi-structural move to the upside, okay? So if we're going to go, actually before I go there, just to tell you something else, ABC doesn't necessarily mean this is a W. If we continue higher, actually breaking above the 3.5K or something, that would mean that the low actually would be more likely, not that would mean more likely in the low for Ethereum, okay? Now, I want to go in the short term a little bit. This is the one, right? And let me just show you what I'm looking at here. Look, you got the 1 and the 2, the 3 and the 4 and the 5 for wave 1 and for wave 2. Here, let's not forget, we are in wave C, right? So we have the same expectation exactly as with BTC. Ethereum took a while to come out the channel, but it did now, and it kind of doesn't have overlaps, or it has overlaps that can be assumed as non, you know, affecting the structure much, because the reality is you got the 1 and the 2 here, and then you have 1 and 2 and 3, and wave 4 ends above wave 1 here because it's a running flat. So that means 1 and 2 and 3 is up here. We are getting a 4 and we still have upside. Okay, that's how I see it. There is no overlap here. You have a running flat, and the wave 2 is also shallow. Wave 4 is a running flat, and that's why we saw this move to the upside, because running flats typically drive price action quite high. Now, how much more upside we have? Well, it looks like it's quite a bit, and it looks like the 5th wave is going to be quite extended in 3. Then you get the 4 and then the 5, then the 4 and then the 5. So there is quite a lot upside here left. Okay, so if this is 1 and 2, supposedly we're going to do the 1618, which is around 3K. And then we're going to do the 3600 up at wave 5. Okay, that's the idea here. Now, if this is at 36, let me show you this. As we said before, you see, 36 is close to the 79. And it's not atypical that we see the fifth wave just ending above the 1618. So this zone between 3 and 3.6, it's going to be very critical for the medium term or even the longer term price action of Ethereum. But what else we have to pay attention to here is, of course, if we can hold the 2K, because we are just at the 50 Fibonacci over here of the longer term upside. And if we do not hold that level well, then the bias will remain to the upside. Now we came all the way up here and we are kind of neutral. But if we don't see this breaking, it's very good chances that we're going to break lower. And that might be a case where this is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And we're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That will be the end of it. 2200. And then we'll go down. Okay, so there is a lot at play right now, unfortunately. But we do see some breakouts that very soon, in my opinion, we're going to know whether they are going to be confirmed or not. I hope this video helped. Sorry, it was quite quick today. And well, leave your comments, like, share, and we'll speak again soon.